Hey, this is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about American credit acceptance, not to be confused with credit acceptance, even though I do have some suspicion that they might be somehow working together. There's been, reason why I'm bringing this one up is we had someone call into the office and they had saw the credit acceptance video and they were wondering, is there anything going on with American credit acceptance? And so I did some research on it and I found that American credit acceptance has numerous thousands of complaints with the Better Business Bureau. And I ran into an attorney's website, which he didn't respond, so I don't have the permission to share the information about the firm. But I could tell you what they're saying. They've been successful with getting actions for their clients with American credit acceptance that were wanting to sue American credit acceptance. So number one, so it said American Credit Acceptance LLC is at 961 East Main Street, Spartanburg, South Carolina, zip code 29302, telephone number 866-441-0251. Now, the person who reached out to us yesterday, what happened with her is that she had paid off the vehicle, and then all of a sudden it showed a charge off on her credit reports. And what she had did is she had did a deferment of payments, and then when the payment deferment of the 3 months was up, she continued making the payments and paid the vehicle off after that. And she had noticed day before yesterday, she looked at her credit reports and the scores had dropped over 40 points. And she was like, what's going on? And then she looked on there and it said that American Credit Acceptance charged off her vehicle. And she was like, how could you charge off a vehicle when I paid off the vehicle? And then when she looked further into her credit reports, it's actually saying a $15 charge was what made that charge off. After she looked into it more, because I was like, it just doesn't sound right. You need to look at your reports in detail. And that's why I say you got to get the reports that you pay for, because you get these free reports, you're not going to get the all of the data that you need to make decisions on whatever you need to do. Even if you work with an attorney, they're going to ask for all of that information. And if you can't provide it to them, they're going to be like, well, what do we have to work with? So get your complete reports. You can go to the website, your3scores.com. That's below this video, so you can get your complete reports. Look in the comments section and you can see on her reports, it had in one section the charge off, and on the other two, everything was good to go. So this is a huge problem for this individual. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you that are watching the video probably maybe have dealt with American credit acceptance. And so this is what these attorneys are saying, that how they've been able to win cases against them. I'm going to talk about first dealing with the contracts that they've put together for people, because they are a subprime lender for automobile loans. And then we're going to talk about a checklist of some of the things that they saw that they violated according to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act that allowed them to get $1,000 per violation for their clients. So the first thing is American Credit Acceptance got in trouble for excessive interest rates and also charging excessive fees due to the company's inclusion of fees for gap insurance. Now, just in case you don't know what the gap insurance is, that's so let's just say you buy a car now. You've always heard this story. You drive it off the lot, it's worth less than what you just paid for the vehicle. And so they sell this gap insurance. So if you maybe get in an accident, right? Some people have gotten in an accident as soon as they drove it off the lot, or you got an accident a month later, 2 months later, there's going to be the value of your vehicle is going to go down. And so what they'll sell you is gap insurance. And so if something happens, car gets totaled, insurance is going to pay a certain amount, and the gap insurance is going to pay the other amount. It's going to pay everything off so you can start over fresh. That's if the accident was your fault. If it's not your fault, the insurance company for the individual would have to pay that other amount. You wouldn't be, you can't be at a full loss on everything, but you might have to go through some haggling because their insurance company is going to try to probably pay what the car's value is, not what you paid for it, or what you owe on it. But the gap insurance would pay that difference. But it looks like what they were doing is they were sneaking in where they charge. This is that tricky stuff that they do. They're not going to outright tell you they're charging you like an interest rate that's just, out of this world, even though the interest rates are high that they charge people. But this is how they do it in a sneaky way, is they'll put the, like gap coverage. This is what they did. They put the gap coverage on there. But the way that they actually wrote the contract is that the interest is paying for the gap contract, not putting the gap contract on there as principal, because they actually are not allowed to do that. This is an additional piece that you're paying for. And so what they'll do is they'll just hide it. And where most people run into trouble, this is where they get caught with it. This is where Santander lenders, lending company got caught, and this is where they're getting caught. People are paying on these cars for 4, 5, 6 years, and then at the end of that, they still owe money when they were supposed to be paid off. And this is how they get caught with it, because what they've technically done is that they've put that gap coverage in there, and you're paying all of this interest, but you're not really paying off the principal on the vehicle. You're actually paying interest to that gap coverage. Like a portion of your payment is really going to that gap coverage. Portion of your payment is going to other stuff that they added on to the vehicle, and very little is going to your principal. So after a while, people end up saying, I paid all this time and I still owe all of this money on the vehicle. We had a client come in, paying on the vehicle for 5 years, bought the vehicle for $15,000. Looking at the contract, they say they were going to pay $30,000. But even after paying all that time, still owed the principal amount on the vehicle. That shows that they lied, even though they have it on their contract, even though they put it on their truth in lending statement, it still showed that they lied on the vehicle, on the contract, on the interest rate that they were charging. Let me tell you the reason why they'll do this stuff and get away with it is because most people, and they know it when they're dealing with subprime borrowers, is that most people are not going to finish paying on the vehicle. They're going to end up having a charge off, repoing the vehicle, taking the contract off of the vehicle. So then they're just coming after the people for the contract, for the money, and it takes it into a whole new realm where they don't get caught with what they're doing, wrong. But people are catching them. Lawyers are out there watching for it, and you saw what happened with Santander, and I'm pretty sure this is going to happen with American Credit Acceptance. Now, here's a list of the things that they tell you to watch out for. This is what they have been doing, and maybe they've been doing this to you, and maybe other debt collectors have been doing something similar like this to you. This is what they've been doing. Have you been receiving multiple calls per week from third-party collectors or a company claiming to be collecting from American Credit Acceptance? Multiple calls. They're only allowed to call you one time a week. Are you receiving early morning or late calls from the debt collectors? And this is from any debt collector. But for this one, we'll talk about it with American Credit Acceptance because they are known for doing this or having their debt collectors do it. Are you receiving calls at work from American Credit Acceptance or any debt collector? Are you getting your friends or neighbors or coworkers getting calls saying, hey, this is American Credit Acceptance or a debt collector for American Credit Acceptance. Have you heard, we're just trying to catch up with John about something. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to share your personal information with anybody. And or they said a debt collector attempts to collect more than you owe. this is what's happening actually with this individual is they put a charge off on there, and then it ended up being for $15, but it shows she got the title and everything showing that the car was paid off. And that's a small amount, but this is something that happens with other debt collectors. And I'm going to talk about one in another video from a sheet here that I got where an individual filed bankruptcy and they're still trying to come after them for that debt. Are you being threatened with negative credit reporting? Where they'll call you and they're going to threaten to place it on your credit reports if you don't do this or you don't do that. You have a right to validate the debt 100%. You have a right to have them send all the information to you, and they can't make those types of threats. And you have your rights. They just try to get you emotional and to try to get you not thinking so you don't ask for what you're supposed to get. Debt collector attempts to intimidate you. This something that did happen with the individual with American Credit Acceptance, that the person tried to say that they're going to send someone to their house, they're going to do this and that to them, they're going to bring you to court, all of that stuff. And this person, the vehicle is paid off. They're talking about $15. Next thing is criminal accusations are being made towards you. It is not against the law to not a criminal action to not pay a debt. It is they can make you come to court to arrest you, to have you come in to say, we've been trying to contact them and they haven't said anything. But once you've made communications, they cannot do that. They can't use obscene language during while they're trying to attempt to collect the debt, and automated robocalls that are being made to your phone is an attempt to collect the debt. So if they are sending robocalls saying, hey, we're trying to get in touch with you, punch one or do this or whatever, they're not allowed to do that over and over and over again. Also, I'm going to throw in, which they did not throw in on here, is that if they're trying to contact you through social media, they cannot contact your friends, family, anyone on social media. And if you opt out, if say you get a message in your messenger from a debt collector trying to collect contact you to collect the debt through your social media on your your DMs or messenger, whatever they want to call it, all you have to do is say, I opt out, please do not contact me this way. They have to do it. They cannot contact you that way. So we're going to move I'm going to be doing more research, contacting this attorney's office and other attorney's office about what's going on with American Credit Acceptance. With credit acceptance, I can tell you that it's still moving very slow for the full class action. Certain states have already settled, so it looks like that one might be a state by state. If you have a situation with American Credit Acceptance or Credit Acceptance or any of these types of companies, you have to file a complaint with your Attorney General's office, because what they do is they build up those complaints with those finance companies, and then that's how they're going to end up filing a class action. Something else that you need to do is you need to file a complaint with the regulators that license finance companies to do business in your state. No matter if they're a national company or whatever, they still have to get licensed to do financing in each state. They can't just, say we're going to do any state that we want to. So you can file a complaint with them, and that will really alert them. That will really wake them up to resolve your situation, to follow up with you, to see, if something could be worked out or if they did something wrong, because they don't want to lose the ability to write loans in any state that they're doing business with. All right, so in the video here, if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, where you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Grab your reports. If you decide to work with us, we can use those reports in our software. If you have debt collectors coming after you, this is one way that you can stop them early, is my 3-pack of letters. Grab those below. The link is below this video. Statute of limitations letter for debt that's past legal statute of limitations to collect. Just had a client that we're working on that with in California. The debt validation letter and the cease and desist collection activities letter, you send those Most of the time, debt collectors will stop coming after you, and even if they want to, they're going to have some back and forth. They're not going to expect you to respond that way, so it can put you in a better situation if it does get to a situation where you have to settle. Please like the channel. Please subscribe. Please ask your questions, comments. Thank you for your time, and I really appreciate you watching.